Hi everybody! In today's reading lesson we are going to have a go at summarising our understanding. That means we are going to think about what happens in the story of Alan's Big Scary Teeth, and we're going to pick out the really main key points, key things that happen and key characters in the story, and we're going to have a go at writing just 3 sentences to give an overview of what happens in the story. So we're not going to retell the whole story, we're going to pick out the key points and write about the key things that happen in the story. The first thing that you will need to do before we do anything else is watch the whole story of Alan's Big Scary Teeth. I have put the link to the YouTube video on Teams. You need to watch the whole story, and you can watch it more than once if you want to. And then after that, if you get time, you could also have a little chat to your adult or one of your siblings if they're near you about what happens in the story as well. So have a go at maybe telling somebody what happened in the story or answering some questions about what happened in the story verbally, just to check that you understand what's happening in the story really well. So pause the video now, listen to the story as many times as you would like to, and then come back to this video. Okay, once you have done that, we are going to move on to summarising our understanding. Summarising our understanding is basically telling someone quite quickly what happens in a story. You're not going to retell them the whole story because that would take ages. You're just going to really quickly say, oh, this is a story where this happens and this happens and then this happens. So what we are going to do is we are going to try and pick 3 sentences. So today we're going to write 3 sentences and that is all. We're not allowed to write any more than 3. And we're going to write 3 sentences to summarise the story of Alan's Big Scary Teeth. That means write 3 sentences and have a go at basically retelling the story in our 3 sentences. We're not going to write about everything that happens, we're just going to write about the main things that happen. So this is how it's going to work. Sentence 1 is going to be about the beginning of the story and about the main character and what's important about him. So for in sentence 1, we will not be writing about Barry the Beaver because he is not in the story at the beginning, he is not the main character, and there's not really anything that important about him, unfortunately. Sorry, Barry. He is not the main character. We are not going to write about Barry the Beaver, especially not in sentence 1, because sentence 1 is about the beginning of the story. So pause the video now and really quickly have a think, what sort of things might you write in sentence 1? It doesn't matter if you're wrong, it's about the beginning of the story, the main character, and what's important about the main character. Pause the video and think, what might come in sentence 1? What might we write about in sentence 1? Okay, so in sentence 1, these are the sorts of things we are looking for. We are looking for a sentence that tells us that the main character is called Alan, probably the fact that he is an alligator, and the fact that he has big scary teeth and he likes to frighten people, something like that. So sentence 1 is going to include all of those things. If I show you this is called a story mountain, and this also helps us summarise because we want our first sentence will be about the beginning, the stuff that we know at the beginning. The second sentence will be about the problem which is faced by the main character in the story. And then the third sentence that we write when we're summarising will be about what happens at the end and how the problem is resolved. So they're the 3 sentences we're looking at for today. One about the main things that happen at the beginning, one about the main things that happen in the middle, the big problem, and one about the main things that happens at the end, the way the problem is resolved. So sentence 2, what is the problem that is faced? So this is usually to do with the main character. So our main character is Alan. He is an alligator and he has big scary teeth. What is the problem? So have another pause of the video and think, what is the main problem which Alan faces in the story Alan's Big Scary Teeth? Okay, once you have discussed that, you might have come to the conclusion that the problem that Alan faces is that he loses his teeth. He can't find them. And when he goes into the jungle and tries to scare the animals, they are not scared of him anymore. They just laugh at him, and he's really sad because scaring is his thing that he does. So that would be the problem which is faced by Alan in the story. That would be sentence 2, and at the top, our story mountain, that would come at the top because that's the main problem, the main part of the story really, the thing that holds it together. And then lastly, we are going to write sentence 3. Sentence 3 is about the end of the story and how the problem is resolved. So we've introduced Alan for sentence 1. We've said that he's an alligator and he has big scary teeth which he frightens people with. Sentence 2 What is the problem he faces? Well, he loses his teeth and then he can't frighten the animals anymore because they just find him hilarious. They don't think he's scary anymore and he feels really sad. Sentence 3, how is the problem resolved? Have a pause of the video and think, how do they fix that problem? What happens at the end that is nice, that rounds the story off to bring the story to a close? Okay, so at the end of Alan's big scary teeth, the problem is resolved because he gets his teeth back, but he has kind of learned, hasn't he, that scaring the jungle animals is not really very nice because it makes them quite upset. So he starts using his teeth, his scariness, for different uses, like giving them a haircut and reading them scary stories, being the scary reader of a scary story because he's quite scary. So the story is resolved because Alan learns not that frightening people is a bit nasty unless they want to be frightened, and that he can use his teeth and his scariness for different uses which help people instead of just scaring them. So he's kind of doing nice things, using his teeth to do nice things for them instead of nasty things. And that is the end of the story. So there we've got our story mountain. At the beginning we introduced Alan. He is an alligator with his big scary teeth. He likes to frighten people, but one day he loses his teeth. He can't frighten anyone anymore. They just laugh at him and he gets really sad. So then he learns his lesson. He learns that he shouldn't really be scaring people and making them sad, and instead he decides to help them. So going back to the beginning, we are going to write 3 sentences, one about the beginning, one about the middle, and one about the end, and have a go at summarising what happens in the story of Alan's big scary teeth. The whole point of this activity is that you are picking out the main things in the story and leaving the extra details. So just giving a brief overview of what happens in the story. If someone asked you, you'd be able to say, oh, well, this happens, and this happens, and then they would know. Have a go at writing those 3 sentences. Don't worry if you find this tricky because we have not done this before in class. This is the first time we have ever done any summarising, and just give it your best shot.